We saw the Francesinha the other day on the Jamie Oliver's video, but this is someone making a Francesinha. Now, I've never made a Francesinha. I've only consumed it, so I have no idea. People would have wars between in the same city just on the account of what's the right way to make this thing. I'm not kidding. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys this. Okay, this is the Francesinha. This is, mind you, this is a hot take, but I don't think, personally, I do not find that Francesinha represents Portuguese food. It's a sandwich. Someone went to France, they saw the croque monsieur, and they went like, you know what? I like this, but it needs everything. It needs everything. It started adding stuff. You're Portuguese and not a fan? Yeah, but it's like, but you know, people will say, oh, Francesinha is the best thing under the sun. Oh my god, give me now. And I think it's just, I don't know. My heart kind of starts pumping harder just from the just from looking at this. Yeah, we are not, that's another thing. If we say that, people in the north will say, oh, you're Moors, you don't know. They call everyone that's not from the north a Moor because of the Moorish occupation. You're Moors, you don't know, sons of bitches. You don't know what's good. Let's see.
Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Anything with Alvin, where today we're going to be taking on making the famous sandwich of Portugal, the Francesinha. Now, the most interesting thing to me was not only the quantity, but the variety of meats in this sandwich. I was really curious to see how they would go well together. I mean, this is a well-known sandwich there for a reason, and I thought it'd be really fun
Shove
to
it all
try
in
out.
there.
This episode is sponsored by Bombas, aka the world's most comfortable sock.
That does not go in the
The
Francesinha,
best
right?
part is that for each item purchased, one is donated. They've donated over 100 million articles of clothing so far across 50 states.
That's cool.
So you're not just getting your new favorite pair of socks, you're helping Bombas donate some to someone else too. Feel good and do good with Bombas, knowing your purchase is doing some real good. New customers get 20% off their first purchase. Just go to bombas.com/babish and use code babish20 at checkout.
Alright, Babish,
Now,
let's see
according
it.
to legends, this sandwich was invented by a man who came from France and lived in Portugal. He made kind of a version of a
I like to play when we're watching someone else's video and they have their ads or their sponsor. I like to watch it just because, you know, we're watching their content, so might as well. Let's learn how to make a Francesinha, shall we?
with a hot gravy, but some people didn't really know how to pronounce that really well, so they just called it the Little French Sandwich or the Francesinha. Whether or not that's true, I don't really know, but I think it's a great story. So let's get started. So first we're going to start with making the fries because that's going to take a little bit of time. So making fries from scratch, we're going to take a couple of these potatoes.
Sure.
We have 3 russet potatoes here.
Sounds
and I'm
about
just
right.
going to peel them really quick and then cut them into about 1/2-inch batons. I kind of like these fries a little on the thicker side for being homemade because that way you get a nice bite in the middle. Once those fries have been cut up, I'm going to blanch these potatoes in water.
I like them chunky as well.
These will
but-
blanch for at least 30 minutes or so. Okay, next we're going to work on our meat. I have 2 kinds of sausages here. One is just a typical pork sausage that you might find in the grocery store. One is a linguica, or kind of like a spicy sausage. I'm sure that's a lot of good spices and flavorings.
When you see a C with a cedil, it reads like S. Linguica, yeah, it reads. They don't know, right? People don't know.
Mixed in. I'm not sure if it's the same as chorizo, but I think it's its own little thing. And for this purpose, I think it's a real
same thing. It's not chorizo. That's the Spanish version. It's chorizo. Just so you guys know, it's important. Sometimes I say chorizo because it's what people know, right? But it's chorizo.
really cool idea. Now the way they made it in the original video we referenced this sandwich from is that they kind of split the sausages down the middle and use it and press it almost into the bread as a ground beef kind of mixture. So we are going to do exactly that. Cutting the casing, taking these sausages out, and making sure to split it down the middle so that way when we push it against the bread, it'll have an even surface that which we can
having a
cook
heart
it in.
attack just
Okay, not only does this sandwich have 2 kinds of sausage, it also has steak. So this is just some chuck roast that we found at the store. And I'm going to emulate those quick minute steaks that you might see. I'm going to take this somewhat marbled piece of meat, cut a little crosshatch pattern to loosen up those tendons and any connective tissue, and then pound it flat until we have a very thin looking steak. Perfect. While our potatoes are blanching, now I'm going to get started on making the sauce.
Just
In a medium
tenderize the
saucepan, I'm
thing,
combining a tablespoon of butter, some oil, and 1 yellow onion that has been chopped. This is going to saute until it gets a little bit of color on it, about 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to add some port wine. This is half a cup of ruby port, which is a dessert wine that is found and originated from Porto in Portugal.
Yeah.
One
It's
of my personal
fortified
favorite
wine.
things to drink. Using it in cooking also makes a lot of sense.
It's
then we're also going to follow with a bottle of this Portuguese
fortified
lager,
wine, right?
which is also found in Porto. 2 kinds of alcohol, 2
Super
kinds of
sweet.
sausage. This is kind of looking like a fun recipe. Once the alcohol has reduced about 30 to 50% or so, then we can follow up with some more ingredients. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of piri piri sauce, or kind of like a spicy pepper sauce.
Oh, he
2
said
cups of
piri
chicken
piri, not
stock,
peri
2
peri.
diced tomatoes,
Let's
1
go.
bay leaf, maybe 2, and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Letting that simmer and cook for 30 minutes until it's nice and combined.
Pepper
Baby, I'm
sauce.
going to take out both of those bay leaves
From the
and immerse and
African
blend this until
devil-
the sauce has
devil
been fully
pepper.
pureed. Then I'm going to sieve this so that we get a nice smooth gravy until we are ready to use it for our final finished sandwich. So this sauce is still a little bit on the thin side. I'm going to use a little bit of a cornstarch
Yeah,
slurry
thick
to
it
bring
up.
together. Now that our potatoes have been blanched in the water, we're going to take them out, let them dry a bit, and then we're going to fry them for the first time on a low.
I gotta say though, even the sauce itself is a point of contention often. So people will just juke it out on the account of, that's not how you make the sauce. You need to make the sauce like that. And someone else makes the sauce differently, so they'll go to war over that sort of stuff. Personally, I think that if you just make a good effort to make one of these things, not like Gordon trying to do the bifana, all right? That's an atrocity. But like if you try to make an effort to make one of these things, the details don't really matter, right? You can perfect it later.
Low heat, 300 to 325, should be able to cook the potato through without browning it too much, because our goal here is to kind of cook the potato and almost get it to a point where it's a little floppy and limp, but the starches are starting to separate on the surface, so that when they're ready to be cooled, they're going to go back in the oil and fry a second time. I found that double frying or even triple
That's what
frying
she said,
fries
guys.
at home can give you the best way of
But
getting
you know,
a crispy
sometimes
effect.
it is what
I
it
think
is.
that works out pretty well here. Okay, once the fries are out and looking a little bit brown, but not too golden brown and start cooling, we're going to cut cheese into these fun little shapes. We decided to go with Havarti or Munster as a backup because those two also melt pretty well and are easy to cut. And the fun part is that the cheese slices seem to be cut with a little half moon shape. I think the purpose of this little indent is to allow the placing of the cheese slices to perfectly enclose a beautiful egg yolk that goes on top of the sandwich when the sandwich is starting to be assembled, which I think is a
So you got the
brilliant
meat, you
idea.
got the
Just
cheese,
take
and
a
you got
stack
the
of
eggs.
cheese, use a little bottle cap or something similar.
My
to
heart
kinda
is going.
cut through, and there you have it. Kind of like jigsaw pieces, except every single piece looks the same and they won't fit together. Once the cheese slices are done, we're going to fry the fries at a higher temperature, 350 to 375 degrees, until these fries are golden and crispy. I'm going to take these a little bit darker because there's going to be a gravy that goes onto them on 2 slices of mortadella, or 1, depending on how meaty you want it. Then we're going to sort of line the edges of this bread with the normal breakfast sausage, the pork sausage that kind of creates a barrier. The linguica, the spicier red-looking sausage in the middle.
And the piri piri,
wow,
right?
That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Never really thought about that, but kind of like the visual of how the other sausages are almost creating those safety ramps at a bowling alley for the middle one, because the middle one has a crazy explosion of flavor. Anyways, we're gonna put this into a pan, face down with a little bit of oil,
it
kind
down.
of pan fry these until the sausage has turned a nice golden brown and has started to cook through. Now this does have a lot of meat on it, so it's gonna take some time. So let's give this a flip after a while and check. Oh, fell off a little bit. That's okay. We'll get you back on the horse, and we're going to continue by taking that out and searing our steak in the same pan. Once our steaks have been
the
seared
steak
and
as
salted
well.
pretty adequately, they're going to go directly on top of those sausages from earlier on top of that bread. Now goes on some ham slices, followed by more cheese, and then back on a piece of bread and into the pan to
Oh my god. So you got the chorizo, you got linguiça, you got the steak. So chorizo, linguiça, steak, ham, and you got the cheese. And it holy shit. That's Francesinha for you.
sear until everything is cooked through and the cheese is nice and melted.
You're gonna have
It's
the
gonna take a
cheese
few minutes
melted on
both
top
sides
as well.
because there is a lot of meat.
Then you're
Sandwich
gonna
is
have
going
the
to
sauce
exit. We're
all
gonna
over
heat
it.
up a little bit of butter to quickly cook an egg sunny side up. Once the egg
Yeah.
is done, it's gonna go on top of our stacked meat sandwich right in the middle, and
Right.
we're going to carefully place 4 to 5 cheese slices directly around the egg.
Oh,
making
that's
sure
why
that
you
the
wanted
little
to do
indent
that.
earlier
Okay.
is perfectly hugging the bright yellow orb.
Yeah,
Now,
melt
this
that.
is the most satisfying part of the video. can't really express how much joy I have from just perfectly fitting cheese onto an egg. Like, I've never done that before. But this makes me happy. We're going to generously pile the fries around our sandwich, as if we were at a diner and serving this to a customer that was
I gotta let it
hungry.
melt.
Then
with
we're going to take
sauce
the
as well.
warm gravy that we made from earlier and generously spoon that both on top of the sandwich, on top of the egg, on top of the
my
cheese,
God.
and all over the fries, making sure that the heat from the sauce is hot enough to melt the cheese into a nice gooey fashion. And then we are going to dig in. And I will say, this looks very exciting. The great
Let's
thing
see.
about this is that for whatever reason, all the meats, you can still taste them, and they're delicious. It really is kind of like a croque monsieur if you've ever had one, just kind of with more meat, like a steak.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, so you toast the bread as well. So despite all the things, it doesn't get mixed up. You can mix all the flavors at the end, right? But it gets like, you got all the meats, and it kind of insulates it from the rest of the sauce and the rest of the things, right? Until you cut into it. My arteries are clogging. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. It's just, you know.
And eggs on the side, but the gravy, I will say, ties everything together. That nice bright, kind of sour but still delicious sauce both provides moisture and a nice balance of flavor to both the fries, the egg, the meats, and the bread. Now this was really delicious. I kind of had to stop myself from eating it to let everybody else in the studio try it. So I know that our version probably doesn't come close to the real thing, but the fact that we are so impressed by this version means
Doesn't
that
matter.
the real deal is
I think it's good
so
enough.
much better. And I know that a lot of the shops have very different versions of the
Yeah,
Francesinha,
they do.
maybe with seafood or somewhat different meats and sauces. So there's probably a really cool world out there where every day you can have a different one of these sandwiches. But
No,
today,
you'll
Cody was
die.
the lucky one to take this entire plate off camera.
Listen,
and eat
don't
it to
have a
the side.
different one every single
Tony.
day. You will
This
die,
episode is
okay?
sponsored by Bombas, aka the world's most comfortable socks. And while they are comfy,
You will
the best
straight
part
up
is
die,
that
guys.
I've
Don't-
purchased,
don't
one
you
is
do it.
donated. They've donated over
Your heart
100
will
million
just-
articles of
You wanna
customers
eat
get
one
20% off
Francesinha
their
every
first
day?
purchase. Just go to
Good luck.
bombas.com/babish and use code babish20 at checkout.
Having one is fine, right? Now and then, having one Francesinha is fine. But like every day, I haven't had one in quite some time. Not a decade, but almost a long time. I haven't had a Francesinha in a long ass time. And I'm okay. Hello? Did you like the video? If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, press the... If you have the bell, press the bell. Otherwise, you know, you don't get the juicy stuff next time. Is this how you do it? What do you mean, no? Oh, also, love your face. Bye. Bye. Click the things.